hearing from the crowds that you're tough as woodpecker.
Apologising for kicking a drop goal.
Jorgensen, Max Jorgensen, no, he didn't. Oh my goodness me! Rock's there, Rock! He's got the record. Tom Wright, just too good. This is ecstasy for Wallabies fans.
Hey there, welcome back to the Scrumbags Rugby Podcast. We are the bin fire that is Australian rugby at the moment. Hopefully, we are the little bit of glimmer that will see you through your week after what was a dumpster fire of crap from the Super Rugby Pacific finals over the weekend. Lachie, you're a resident Queensland fan. How devastated are you about their loss over the weekend?
Oh, Mitch, with such stirring words, how can I not be excited to sit on and talk about that? I am, I guess, completely whelmed is probably the way that I'd sum that up. Not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed, just whelmed. I don't think anyone expected the Reds to do anything magical over the ditch. I know our mate Fergo was jumping on us with extra time, plugging them, saying they can do it. I just didn't think it was going to happen. There were flickers of hope. Yeah, early in the second half, they push ahead, they look good, but it's the same story that we've read 1,000 times, and that's exactly what we did across our socials, pumping this as Groundhog Day, at least for the Reds. The Brumbies, however, though, Mitch, far out. That hurt me way worse than the Reds loss, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit of a little bit of optimism going into that game, just hoping that the Brumbies might have been able to find that early season form. But
blind optimism.
Very much didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. We'll get to those results in a little bit, but it's not all doom and gloom. We have had some pretty poor results in Super Rugby Pacific over the weekend, but we've also had Super W kickoff, so some good promising results in that front, and we've also had some sevens results to talk through as well. So I think we'll start low. We'll start in the area that hurts the most, and then we'll try and finish on a high. So if you're gonna stick with us to the end, because we've got some exciting rugby to talk about at the end of the podcast. But where better way to start than what was Super Rugby Pacific, the quarterfinals on Friday night. The ACT Brumbies go across to Wellington to play the Hurricanes in what was a pretty abysmal game in terms of conditions. Like, it was pouring, it was windy, it was everything you kind of expect when you think of Wellington, when you think of quarterfinal rugby at this time of year in New Zealand. And unfortunately, the Brumbies felt like they just got overawed by the occasion. They just let the weather get to them a little bit too much, and they didn't really fire a punch. 66-12 was the final score in this one, and there's very few positives to talk about from a Brumbies perspective.
Yeah, deeply, earth-shatteringly uncomfortable watch. This was, I think, watching them go 31-0 in the first half. What was it 25 minutes it took them to get there, or something stupid like that, to lay on 5 tries? It just felt like a kick in the guts over and over again. For some reason, we sort of tagged this as very optimistically thinking maybe the Brumbies could throw a punch, but it was like they were in the ring with both hands tied behind their back and a ball gag in. It was just appalling. They had absolutely nothing to offer, and then the Hurricanes wheeled out 3 Mike Tysons. It was appalling. I can't reconcile with myself now, Mitch, why we thought there was a chance when we've seen the Hurricanes do this systematically to every single team, bar the Chiefs, at full strength, and then there's the outlier in Lautoka. I don't really count the final round against the Crusaders because that wasn't the Hurricanes. That was a B-side that they rolled out.
Well, that was like monsoonal conditions. That game shouldn't have gone ahead, really. People were dying in rucks in that one.
It was crazy.
Was being revived on the sideline because they drowned in the bottom of a ruck.
So every single pointer was directing us to a huge Hurricanes win, and we just refused to believe it would be that bad. I think that is an accurate reflection of the gulf between the teams, sadly. The Brumbies just looked completely out of it, and it looked like the trend was that they were limping into finals, Hurricanes absolutely thundering in.
Peaking.
And that's how it played out.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the result and you go, oh, geez, that's poor. That's really bad. And It was like you can't try and pump anything up from Brumbies. Like there was very few highlights in that game. I think what made us as rugby pundits, as rugby fans, sort of get excited about this game is the Brumbies had shown earlier in the season what they can do when it clicks, and so we were all just optimistically hoping that for whatever reason this was going to be the game that it all did click. We're going to get that Christchurch against the Crusaders earlier in the season where everything they touched turned to gold. The Hurricanes are a really good team. And I think it probably goes to show how good this result goes to show how good the Hurricanes are, that they made a pretty good Brumbies team look atrocious. Like we can't sugarcoat it at all. This is the worst Brumbies result probably ever. This was the most points the Brumbies on record had conceded in a half of footy, and this is the most they conceded in a finals game. This is up there as potentially the most they've ever conceded in a game of rugby in Super Rugby. Like, it was dire.
I can't think of a worse result off the top of my head. Like, if we quickly pulled out some research, we might be able to find it, but here are some facts that Murray Wenzel out of AAP gave us in his match report. It was the most points they've ever conceded in a first half. It was a record score from the Hurricanes against the Brumbies, and I think that pretty much points to it being abysmal, right? Like, there are no redeeming factors for this. What surprised me the most was that the Brumbies, even though we saw like a bit of it when we were across in Super Round, like obviously this was the matchup that we saw, and the Hurricanes very comfortably went out. I'm pretty sure they put 50 on them in the end, but at least there was some kind of attacking pushback in dry conditions. The Brumbies didn't look like a team that were equipped for gross windy conditions, and then all the Hurricanes guys had Velcro hands. It was incredible. Like, everything stuck. Ruben Love was unbelievably good at playmaker. That combination with Roygaard is bloody terrifying. And man for man, we said in our preview, the Brumbies would need to be better, every single player man for man, and have luck go their way. What we saw was the opposite. They had no luck, no chances, and every Hurricanes player outpointed their opponent. So it was a deserving thumping for the Canes. And now, selfishly, I want to see the Canes go on and win this whole thing because they have been so dominant. They have smashed every team. And frankly, I'll be upset if another team wins now, because this is then we can point to it and say, hey, look, this is just an incredible club team having an incredible season. It's not the failings of the Brumbies, and maybe that's what we need to be focusing more on.
Yeah. Just doing a quick search as you were talking then, is the Brumbies' worst ever game or loss. It came up on Google, whatever their AI. ACT Brumbies' worst ever game is widely considered their 66-12 loss to the Hurricanes in Wellington during the 2026. So, yes, this is their worst ever loss. Thank you, AI. I appreciate that. Look, for me, I think with this game, there's a few things that come out of it, and I feel like Bernie Larkham needs to kind of hold a little bit of responsibility in this one. So what was really evident in the Super Round game against the Hurricanes earlier in the season was there was a few aspects that just didn't work in that game. And again, very similar to this one, the Canes were dominant. They were good. They were just unstoppable out wide. With ball in hand, they were just much better, more physical than what the Brumbies were able to contain. What didn't work was Declan Meredith at 10. And so they had the rest of the season then to try and come up with an alternative to sort of let's give Ed Med some options, because the way the table's currently looking, we're probably going to go to Wellington to play the Hurricanes. And it happened again this game. Like, Ed Med came on with 30 minutes or something to play. They gave Decky Meredith as much time as they possibly could, but it just wasn't working. The game was well and truly gone by that point, and they limped home. Like, it's not so much about squad well, it is a little bit about squad rotation, because looking across this season for 2026 of the Brumbies, it's been very clear that there's two guys who were the front runners to run this team around, and it was Ryan Lonergan and Declan Meredith. And both those combinations, whilst good against other teams, didn't work against this Hurricanes team. And so the Brumbies just hoped that somehow it would be better this week, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I agree with that in part. I think that it also comes down to highlighting the lack of genuine ball runners that the Brumbies now have. So, like, if you take out, and we are taking out, Hooper, who was a really effective ball runner last year, Ikitau, who was their primary ball runner in the back line, and the fact that Tom Wright's coming back from injury, those are three massive targets that you've suddenly lost. Rob Valetini can't do it all himself, and Charlie Cale is a wide-running forward, which is great, but it's not the same sort of ground-smashing, line-bashing material that we need. Man for man in the pack, every Hurricanes player carried more strongly. Maybe Valetini gained parity, but that's what it really highlighted to me, that the fact that every Canes forward could, whether it's off a one-out carry, whether it's two phases off the ruck, whether it's just going from the base, would make meters, fight, and then get a quick work on the ground where they're placing back in effectively for a quick clean, and it generates much faster ball. The Brumbies looked stuck in honey, stuck in mud, stuck in treac, or whatever you want to call it. They were not getting the same flow on, and it's because they weren't bending or breaking the line to begin with. They were getting pushed backwards. So for me, it actually highlighted how few punching running forwards the Brumbies had, and that scared me, because I was like, oh, Valetini is like the primary Wallabies carrier, and he just looked swamped, unfortunately. Like, there was just not enough support around him. And then, man, like every single Canes player, when they pick up the ball, you go, oh shit, like here comes so and so. Here comes around the corner. Here comes Yosset. Here comes Wakalira. Here comes Derns. And we're just like waiting for Bobby's afro to pop up again to get some go forward. And every third or fourth phase is the only one that gets meterage. It was a hard watch. That was a hard watch.
And just looking at the tackle stats through this, like, you know, typically you sort of expect your big tackle or tackle numbers to be completed by your back row. So 6, 7, 8. In this game, we had Bobby Valetini on 11, Luke Reimer on 18, but Charlie Cale only on 9. But then you look at the missed tackles, you've got Bobby Valetini missed 3, Reimer missed 4, and Cale missed 1. So Lachie Lonergan and Lachie Shaw actually led the way. Lachie Shaw had 17 tackles, Lonergan and Alatoa both had 14 each. So it didn't really feel like you were getting that punch, that defensive impact from your back row that you need when you're up against a massive pack like the Hurricanes.
Yeah, for sure. But it just comes down to size, right? If you're constantly getting knocked backwards, your defensive line is backpedaling, you're not able to get set, and then it's harder to bounce forward and push on your line speed to then affect a positive tackle or a dominant tackle. And there was just no area in which the Brumbies had that dominance. So a smashing loss, a really sort of gut-wrenching loss in the scale of it all, and it just leaves a bit of a sour taste, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll probably in the next few weeks, at some time before the Nations Championship kicks off, do some kind of like post-mortem, post-Super Rugby's Pacific season review and really dive into the numbers and have a look at how each team performed. But initial thoughts of this Brumbies team started the season so well, and they looked so good early, that everyone was talking about, you know, these guys are going to finish top 4. These guys are going to be title contenders, particularly going to New Zealand and beating like 3 of the 4 Kiwi teams, and 2 of those in Kiwi soil. Like, that was really, really impressive early seasons. But the second half of the season has been really disappointing for them. Some massive losses. That loss last week to Moana Pacifica probably typifies what this season has ended up being for the Brumbies. Like you said in your little intro to this game, the Brumbies were limping to the end of this season. They weren't hitting their straps at the end when you needed to start to hit form. They started hot, they started fast, they started abrasive. Their attack looked really good early, and it just fell to pieces as the season wore on.
I think you've nailed that. I also think it's interesting to see that typically how you would expect a tougher part of the draw to go for them, which was the start, they absolutely excelled in. Like, yes, they went down to the Drua, was it on the road? Was that a little later in the season? But like, if you go through the early start, they had an incredible run. They smashed, they won their first 3, one on the road against the Force, who we know are really good, then pumped the Crusaders and then beat the Blues at home. You're thinking, this is bloody hunky-dory. Yeah. They're going to be flying. And then it just like, it very clearly trails off. The losses at home to the Drua and Moana in particular, as you highlighted, and Tars, just killer.
Like the 3 teams that did make finals, the 3 teams lowest in the competition, they lost to them at home.
Yeah, bang on. So it's just, I'm not sure what it highlights. It's probably a bit raw for like a full post-mortem. I think preseason we identified that they'd lost key players, they'd lost key game-driving personnel, and that their forwards, while excellent across the park, are getting a little older and a little slower. That's how it played out. And Tom Wright is unfortunately half the player he was before he was injured. He will find his feet. He will get back to that level. But it's tough when you don't have your Wallaby 15 firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, big time for reflection down in Canberra.
Yeah, it hurts, and it hurts the most that so many people were expecting a good result in this game. I don't think anyone was really expecting them to win, but at least not to lose by 60 points. Like that was a tough watch, and it really did look like watching that game. It just looked like the Brumbies had no answer, and they kept trying, they kept doing their best, but it just wasn't good enough, unfortunately. There's one point I want to talk about. It's probably a little bit more like competition-wide, some things that came out of the weekend. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to talk about it after the Reds Chiefs game?
No, lean in. Hit me.
What's the go with the crowds in New Zealand? Like I know they're playing in Wellington. It's a big stadium. It was a shit-ass night in terms of weather. But this is a quarterfinal when your team is at the top of the table and they're playing incredible rugby. There was so many empty seats. Like even Jordie Barrett said after the game, like, show up next week. I don't want to see so many yellow seats in the stadium. Like, it looks so poor.
Yeah. I think it's funny because we've seen typically terrible crowds for Trans-Tasman games across the ditch. It leans itself to two things. One, that they just don't care about Aussie teams in Super Rugby. And two, that they're actually not particularly good at supporting and attending live. They blame stadiums. I blame more a bit of just malaise and complacency around Super Rugby. Now we see that the Crusaders are selling out stadiums with a good facility. Maybe you think, oh, actually, the facilities in New Zealand are just crap and they don't want to be stuck outside in terrible conditions, paying overs for tickets and cheap beer. So, well, cheap is in the quality. So I think that it really lends itself to a bigger discussion about what kind of stadiums should Super Rugby be played in. Clearly, 25,000 in a roof is doing wonders for the Crusaders. Of course, they win, but the Canes, like, come on, that was pathetic. It was really, really poor. If that game is being played down in Sydney or in Brisbane or pretty much anywhere else, maybe not Canberra because they haven't been turning up either, but like you would expect a massive crowd. I don't even reckon there would have been 10,000 there. And yes, we know that they're probably going to storm in. It looks appalling, Mitch. Like we can't paint anything positive about it. I think that they go, oh, we're going to smash them and we'll just come back next week and pay for our ticket then. That's not the way to support your team. Ella Ferguson did a great piece on it on her socials saying, well, if you know they're going to win, like go and watch them. Go watch them put on 10 tries. Go watch them play amazing rugby because that's what they are. This is a really good team and Wellingtonians at the moment aren't turning out. It's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, it's almost like saying we're not going to go watch the All Blacks play the World Cup final because we just expect them to win. Like, even if it's going to be a good game, even if they're going to be...
Yeah, it's
awesome.
defeatist when you're winning. It's a strange sort of mindset. Like, I would be very disheartened if I was a Hurricanes membership team.
When was the last time the Canes were this good? Like, and had this good a run? Like, they've
10 years ago,
out
2015, 2016. Yeah.
Not even... It's more than that. Like, they also got to the quarters. Like, they haven't played a semi-final in Super Rugby, it feels like, for 12, 13, 14 years.
Nah, they finished minor premiers in 24 and they hosted a semi-final and they got pipped by the Chiefs. But even that game, like they did not sell out Westpac. So there is something wrong, particularly with the Wellington crowds and the turnout there. Maybe we need to talk to G and Ra about it over at Super Smack.
Oh, they weren't there either.
Oh, I bet they weren't there. You quitters.
I don't think they were there. They were at home, rugged up and with the fire on and with the scarf on, enjoying it on TV. I think Braz in the US anyway, so he's got a good excuse.
Yeah, boo, they don't care. But yeah, it does point to a bit of crowd complacency, and maybe they just need to go, actually, the Cake Tin is a shocking venue that's cold and miserable and circular. Fans aren't close to the action, so why would we want to be there? Take the game down to Hawke's Bay, to Jerry Collins Park in Poroa, somewhere else. Just try rectangular. Maybe we just need to start building more of these things. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. But let's keep moving. So the second game of the weekend was the Crusaders hosting the Blues. There's not a heap to say in this one. It kind of came out as what we expected. I actually don't have the score in front of me. Do you know what the score was off the top of it?
I honestly thought we were going to gloss over it. From memory, it was, I think, 52 to 31.
Yeah,
was
Crusaders
that right?
won. Crusaders smashed it. That red card, though, like, let's talk about that for a second. That's probably the only talking point out of this game. And and that stadium, like how good that stadium is. They continue to sell it out. I'm getting so nervous because I don't think Super Rugby can in any way force the hand of where the game's played, but it very much feels like it's going to be it's actually this weekend, isn't it? The Crusaders go to Wellington to play the Canes.
No. So the way the chips have fallen is that the Canes host the Blues and will absolutely pump them. Yeah. And then the Crusaders are going to Hamilton. So it would take a miracle for the Crusaders to host a final from here. It would mean the Blues beat the Canes at the Cake Tin and the Crusaders win away in Hamilton. Crusaders winning away, I can believe, but I can't see the Blues doing any damage at all. This game, however, was awesome. And I nailed that
Jack
score,
Mesley
actually.
sitting at home watching at home going, like, let's sell out One New Zealand Stadium and have a pumping atmosphere there, or we play the final in Wellington and have 14,000 people there and it looks empty still. I know what he'd be wanting.
They're going to be giving away tickets to the final if that's the case. If they ended up in Wellington, they'll just be dishing them out on the street because otherwise it will look so stark and so bad. This game, in very short and very brief, yes, red card bad, but Blues worse. Simple as that. Like the Crusaders were never going to lose this game.
How do you not go off for a HIA? That's the biggest question that everyone's asking. Like in today's day and age, with all the cameras, with all of the footage, with the mouth guards that are pinged before head contact, like that was crazy. Like I was starting to get a headache just watching that, sitting on my couch in Sydney. Like he needed to come off and be assessed.
I think maybe he's kept it down the sock. Maybe he pulled the Taniela Tupou. He just had the chewing gum in instead of the mouth guard. Like I don't know. For me, that was like getting hit by a freight train.
Did you see? I think it was in the Moana game the other week. One of the players had his mouth guard in his sock. And then there was
kicked it. That's why
someone kicked it, so he went off for a HIA.
It's crazy. But like, I can't believe that we're in. This is a bit of more of a dental rant than anything else. But like, you play professional rugby, you get these incredible mouth guards fitted. Just wear them, boys. Your teeth are so important. They're really, really helpful for the rest of your life. I promise you, wearing a mouth guard is worth it.
Yeah, exactly. I guess they don't put as much emphasis on dental hygiene or dental integrity in New Zealand.
Possibly. That's the way.
But let's keep moving. And what we're here to talk about is the last quarterfinal of the weekend, or qualifying final, as Super Rugby is calling it, where the Reds went over to Hamilton to play the Chiefs. A little tighter score in this one than the Brumbies and the Hurricanes, but it's still the Chiefs ran away with it at the end. 46-24 was the final score in this one, and again, the Reds had their opportunities, were in this game for large parts of it, but just not able to ice the game at the end.
Yeah, tough one to take. I feel like, and this is definitely with my bias hat on, Reds probably more deserving than the Blues of being in the semis, but there's so clearly a top three and the rest in this competition. So regardless of who was going to slip in and play the Canes, they're just making up numbers. The Reds first half, solid. Impressive, good moments, good build up. I like the way that they back their set piece and their rolling maul. I really did back their shot to go for 3 before halftime and take the lead. So they were up 17-15, I'm pretty sure. But like conceding that try on halftime was just criminal. And again, the same old movie that we've seen dusted off, rewound the VHS. Like they score either side of halftime, they take the game away. It was, an all too familiar story. I think more so as a result of how good this Chiefs team is, but there are still like big cracks in the Reds gameplay. For too many times, they had to rely on scramble defense and McWright and company getting over the ball without the integrity of their line holding to begin with. Chiefs too good, to be honest.
I watched this game, and those 2 tries on either side of halftime, I don't know what happened to the TMO. Again, I've said it all year. Laxatives in the coffee in the morning or something, needed to validate his parking ticket. I don't know, but there was 3 knock-ons in the lead up to the try right before halftime, and 2 clear ones in the try after halftime.
Yeah, the Tupai one was pretty egregious at the ruck base. Like that was bad.
he gets tackled, he's off his feet, and then he sort of goes to pick the ball up. He's sort of on his knees, and then he drops it. And then I think Xavier Rowe picks it up and knocks it on again. Like, there's three. You got to look at those ones. Like, I'm watching this live and I'm seeing those, and they look like a bobble. I know there's camera angles, and that's what's come to sort of being our undoing earlier in the season. But for the TMO to not even look at it, to say, hey, we've got something to look at, check, it's all clear. I don't understand, because I swear if that was Queensland scoring those tries, they go through it with a fine-tooth comb. If that's in Brisbane, it's probably also not a try. Like, I don't understand how they're just given the all clear when it's pretty obvious that there was at least something that needed to be further looked at.
Yeah, and this comes down, without like taking pot shots exactly at the rest, this comes down to something that we have spoken in the past about. There needs to be impartial and neutral referees in Super Rugby, because it removes all this concern and all this doubt about it. Obviously, referees are doing their best. We trust that that is their job and that is their mantra, and their professional integrity is based on this game. If we just have referees appointed, all Kiwis for all the Kiwi games, all Aussies for all the all-way games, and we develop relationships with South Africa, the Pacific, Japan, other areas, it takes away so much of the doubt and the concern that we have in these matches, because otherwise we're not having these conversations. If it's rerun the clock and it's a Roman pot, oh, heavens above, but like a Yakko paper, like any of these people, right? This conversation doesn't happen. We go, okay, they've gone through at their best. There's no vested interest. It's as simple as that. That's why we have it at test level rugby. So why aren't we treating Super Rugby like test rugby? Why can't we have that same level of impartiality and professionalism in the appointments? That's not highlighting a bias. That is saying we take it seriously enough at that level to have impartial referees. Let's treat Super Rugby with the same respect.
It's also,
because it removes that doubt.
It's also like, this might be a bit of a pot shot, but I feel like it's Sky Sports and they need to be a little bit better. Like, so many times when you see the Aussies go over to New Zealand and there's something that the Kiwis do that's, a player's offside or there's a high shot, that sort of thing. So many times those get brought up in Australia because the stand crew or the ground director, whatever, is putting it on the big screen and sort of highlighting like, hey, ref, hey, guys, look at this. There's a knock on. Let's look at that. And then the ref goes, oh, I saw that. Let's review that. In New Zealand, that doesn't happen. Like, they just gloss over everything. Like, we're a professional game at the moment. Let's not have the broadcasters giving their own teams a leg up. Like, everyone's talking about how the competition is already so one-sided. It's not engaging anymore. It's boring. We're getting these same results. Well, if your team's knocking the ball on the lead up to a try, show it. Don't hide it away. Like, it's also, I don't know. I'm not saying they're doing this, but is there also the thing of like, the team was like, I need to sweep this. I need to have a look. And then the director's like, yeah, it's coming. Hold on. It's coming. Oh, they've kicked the conversion. Sorry, it's over.
Just
like,
slowly
is the
dragging
team
it across
getting
the
feed? Yeah, like, is the team getting the feed? Who knows?
It was funny seeing like Morgs and like some of the people in the stand commentary going like, we need to see a replay of that. And it just never came up. It was never provided.
Because again,
obviously
it's not stand with the broadcast.
Yeah.
It's a Sky feed. Yeah. So they're just sitting there going, we need to see that there's a knock on there. We need to see that there's a knock up. They're not looking at that? What? Yeah. And Timmy Horn on the sidelines just absolutely like, he's doing a Phil Kearns. He's like, there needs to be an investigation into this. This is ridiculous.
It is bad. And like, yes, this is very sour grapes of us, because at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs were a much better team.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want New Zealand turning into France or South Africa and like burying stuff at the bottom of replays just because they're salty pricks about it. Like, I think the Kiwis are better than that. So hopefully I'm proven right and that they turn that around. Nations Champ will be very interesting to see how those games against Ireland go. I'm sure there'll be some missing footage somewhere. Hey, a quick one, just like on this Reds game, like a moment in it. That was so scary seeing Wallace Atiti go down. Like, we know that the high contact initially came from Salako Loto, and like, I thought that was like a definite yellow. Could have even been a red in my book, to be honest, because it's not so much about the damage. It's about the fact that it was high. I was happy with yellow. I think it could have gone either way. But it scared the shit out of me seeing the impact from old mate coming behind him and headbutting him, knocking him out. Like, having his shakes on the ground, that scared the crap out of me.
Well, I didn't see that, luckily. And I think it's actually quite hard to see that footage. Like, the broadcaster, I know we were just laying the boot in a second ago, but they did quite well in that they cut clear away from that. I wasn't actually at home at the time when the game was live. I was driving home from the shops. And so I was listening to the New Zealand comms feed. And so they were just talking crap. And I was like, what's going on? Like, why is the game not running? And I didn't have any realization around what was actually happening until I got home and sort of watched the replay. But yeah, I think I think the yellow was sufficient. I don't think it needed to be red because really, in my opinion, the force came from his own team. I don't think if his own player had hit him at the back of the head second after Salakai Loto's arm hit him, then we probably don't have the outcome that we got. And obviously, you can't say that doesn't happen because Salakai Loto's tackle puts him in that situation to then head clash with his own player. But I thought the actual head contact didn't come from Salakai Loto. I thought it came from his own player from behind.
Yeah, sure. That's where the damage happened. But there's still Salakai Loto still got him flush with the shoulder to the head. So in my book, that would still be.
I thought it looked more like a seatbelt tackle over the shoulder.
Yeah, I think regardless, I think the card's the right call. But it's an interesting
play on, boys.
sort of break. But it's like breaking down why are we ruling on affect and outcome rather than incident. And I think the refs did a really good job there in saying yes, the initial shot was high. We're not red carding him as a result of the fact that the impact came elsewhere. But I think this particular tackle, and this is why I wanted to highlight it, will be a really interesting case study when it comes to cards and mitigation. Because for a junior referee coming through the ranks, she sees something or he sees something that is a player going down out cold hard. How does that come to be? Do you referee on the outcome or do you referee on the incident?
If you're at the local footy ground without a TMO, without a replay, without anything, you're probably giving that a red.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Because all you've seen is a contact in a split second as a referee, and you need to go, well, this dude's out cold. He's been hit in the head by someone. I'm giving a red card. I don't think anyone in those situations questions it. I think even if it happened at a Shoot Shield or Hospitals Cup game as well, I know they have the replay there, but they don't actually have a TMO until finals. They can't go back and actually review it. So I think even that situation is also given a red. But yeah, I think in the professional game, it shouldn't be a red because there is mitigation. But it opens up that case, like you were saying, of to the letter of the law and the framework, it probably could have been a red. You could talk yourself into a red there. Yeah. But is the responsibility solely on Salakai Loto because he's the opposition player? Is there also no responsibility from the Chiefs' own player who came in and made the contact as well? But it's scary to think that this sort of thing can happen because it is such a rugby incident, isn't it? The player's falling into contact. He's those players coming in to clean him out. We're probably just lucky we haven't seen something as bad as this happen before.
Yeah, and look, I think we're just thinking of Satedi. It's good to see the photos of him up and about in hospital, but players having the shakes on the field is no good. And also, if you are out there, we've seen it out there. If you've clipped this up and put it out there to get engagement, you're a dickhead. That's someone having a seizure on the field. So you can get
who
fucked.
needs to see that? Who wants to see that?
Yeah, quite frankly, and there was So aside from that, taking that aside, I'm glad I had a little soapbox there. Chiefs just unbelievably clean at the back end of the game, and I think it blew out a little bit with the late tries to Hutchison and Mackenzie's 3, but did it ever feel like the Reds were going to get back into it after who got it over? There was really good defense from the Chiefs off the back of Damien Mackenzie's quick tap try, and I think that's what screamed to me most about this game, the fact that the Chiefs were so tough in defense. They knocked Pritchard out going for the line around the 55, 60-minute mark. They managed to keep holding out wave and wave of Reds attack. And I feel like the Reds, and maybe you can point to this or maybe you saw something similar to me, just lacked a little bit of creativity when they're in the 22 because they did have so much possession. And it's not like they didn't have their chances in the second half.
Yeah. I think the first thing I say is the Reds had an incredible fight. They kept in this game for so long, and it was only towards the 60th minute that it started to break. That rubber band sort of analogy of it breaking in the game, getting out of their hands. They kept in there. They did really well at halftime to stay close to the Chiefs. They were still well and truly in that game. I agree with what you were saying though. Like with the possession they had, the defensive effort from the Chiefs was immense, and the Reds looked a little bit one out, looked a little bit too rote in their attack. They weren't flaring it up enough, and I think a lot of that came from losing Hunter Paisami in the centres. Like he has been their abrasive ball runner who gives them a second playmaking option. And without him there, like Filipe Daciuni's been great at it, but he just doesn't have that same flair of getting around that first defender like Hunter Paisami has been. So I think they did suffer that. Just on a general like rugby topic, how frustrating do you find that 5 meter quick or that quick tap in the 5 meter at the moment? Like that's unstoppable. That's a try every day of the week. Like I don't think there's anything else the Reds could have done to stop that try to D-Mac there. If someone actually cleaned him up and just absolutely nailed him, he's probably getting a yellow and it's a penalty try for being offside. Like, I think there needs to be something done where you can't take it quickly in the 5 meters, but you can outside. I don't know. It's also the same situation from scrums. When there's a penalty at a scrum and the halfback just takes it quickly, the whole forwards in scrum, the backs are offside, just runs through. It's like it's an easy 5-pointer. There's no legal way to defend it.
No, there's not, because like, as you mentioned, you'll get a card if you go early, and it's probably a penalty try if it stops it regardless. But also, like the Super Rugby has a directive where they want more tries being scored. So if you earn the right to go up to the 5 meter line or the try line and you earn advantage, it seems like a pretty effective way of scoring, right? So I don't know. I feel a bit weird about it too. Yeah.
It goes against rugby's values of being a contest of possession. Like it's almost like the area before this was the maul, where it's like as the attacking team with the ball, it was near impossible as a defending team to stop that, and so it felt unfair. They have made tweaks to that, and we have seen in the last probably 18 months the maul being devalued a little bit, which is probably a good thing. Like how many more tries have been scored in Super Rugby this year? It doesn't feel like as prevalent as in years gone past. But if there is an area of the game, in our game, that is a contest of possession and prides itself on that, and you're giving away tries for easy, that there's no legal way to defend it, then that probably needs to be looked at.
Yeah, possibly. I know that they're giving a bit more freedom around like where the quick tap is taken from the penalty mark as well. So like it used to be like you could not get a quick tap in at all, because it'd be like, no, you're 30 centimeters to the left, like my marker's here. So maybe it's about giving a bit more of that freedom back. Maybe it's about simply being you can take the quick tap, but you have to be in line with the mark. It doesn't have to necessarily be on it.
Or just you can't take it quick within the 5 meter.
Yeah, maybe, but also like, I don't know. It's a hard one because I feel like if it's a great way to exploit like tired bodies and people not getting back. So I don't have an answer, to be honest. Like I was obviously pissed off seeing him do it because under the current framework it's legal and he took advantage of it. Great try. Put them in a really
it reminds me of
position.
The Lions try. Was it the first test where the Lions are like, oh, we're kicking to the touchline, then he takes it quick and scores? Like that also rubs me the wrong way.
The
Johnny
Sexton,
Sexton,
cross kick.
Oh no, Johnny Sexton.
There's Finn Russell's cross kick.
Yeah,
was it cross kick or he passed? Yeah, it's cheeky. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's just roiled up all kinds of Lions trauma. Thank you. But yeah, it's quick taps. Yeah, what do you do at the moment?
I'm just a
nothing.
prop. I don't want to have to I just want to nail some bloke. If Damien Kemp is going to run at me and I'm going to get penalised for nailing him, well, that's your fault, not mine.
It was a tough one. And like from there, like that was the big one. Like D-Mac's second try with 15 minutes to go was pretty much it. They just, nothing was going to happen. I think even with like the Matt Fesler try, like nothing really doing there. So the Chiefs end up rolling out 22-point winners. To me, it didn't feel quite like reflective of how close it was, but in the same token, it's the Reds in the exact same position that they have been for the past 5 seasons. You go across the ditch for a qualifier or a quarterfinal and you get pantsed.
Yep.
Have they gone forward?
And
Would you say they've gone forward? I don't know.
I mean, from what it sounds like, there's going to be mass changes to that squad. There's going to be mass changes to the Force squad, to the Tar squad, to the Red squad, probably to the Brumbies squad as well next year in a World Cup year. So that'll be fun to dig through a little bit later on. But just again, disappointing, I think. And as an Australian rugby fan, really with no horse in the fight so much, or other than wanting to see an Aussie team get up, like just disappointing that we're talking about these results again, and it becomes pretty scripted in what Super Rugby is. And I mean, it is a little bit of history. This is the first time ever in the competition, I think, even in its 30 years iteration, that it's been an all 4 Kiwi semi-finals. Brumbies really probably letting Australia down in that regard there. But yeah, just disappointing that at this point. Well, it is like it's been the Brumbies the last 5 years, as long as I can remember, that team that was, in the semi-finals at least.
I get what you're getting at. Yeah, it's
but disappointing, and it's not a good way to roll into a Nations Championship, and
extra time in camp. It's actually they're playing chess, not checkers. This is very Les Kiss coded way of them getting an extra week in camp altogether. Definitely not as a result of failing at Super Rugby level.
I would much prefer to be having a coach come in off of winning a championship, even if that was in New Zealand, as opposed to
nice.
bowing out in a quarterfinal. That's just me, though. That's just me. I don't know about you.
Could be nice. I don't know. We're
not something we've really
here.
been used to, is it, in Australia?
No. Oh, God, far out. It has now been, 12 years. 12 years since we won a title. Isn't it crazy that of all the Australian New Zealand teams that have won, it's the Brumbies that it's been the longest drought? It's Brumbies and then Reds and then Chiefs going back. Even the Highlanders have won more recently than the Chiefs. They must be really fucked off by that.
They won. What did they won? 2 of the 3 Rugby AU or whatever it was during COVID, or one of the 2.
Crusaders took both of them.
No, the Brumbies. Sorry, the Brumbies won.
No, they don't count. No, Brumbies and Reds, those don't count. No, they're bollocks. Those 2. Sadly,
I'm pretty sure that's the trophy.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't even remember what it looks like. Super dub.
Let's get into it, because we've gone 41 minutes and we probably need to wrap up soon anyway. So we've had Super W kick off over the weekend in exciting fashion, I would say, on Saturday afternoon, with the Waratahs hosting the Fijiana in Drua at Leichhardt Oval, the 8th wonder of the world. The final score in this one was 42-29, which, the way the game actually started, I was expecting the Tars to kind of put 50-60 on the Drua, the way they looked so clinical in the first 15 minutes or so. But credit to the Drua, they got parity. They came back into the game and they scored some good tries themselves, and they put the Tars under a lot of pressure. But this result does kind of make you think, geez, are we going to see another Tars team just roll through this competition untouched?
Yeah, we might. And remember, they've still got, Barbara Ellis, Maya Stewart, Feliki Pahiva, Tia Hines, all to come back in, plus probably others that I've missed there. They looked so slick early in attack. Freddie goes over for a couple of tries, but everything really silky. Piper Simons, great service. It looked really comfortable for the Tars while they were there, and that was a big area that they needed to fill, right? No Tatum Bird. Yep. So they needed someone else to step up, and Piper Simons having that Wallaroos taste at the start of the year, you go, oh, I like how that looks. Great service, great speed off the ruck base. Pack-wise, though, that Drua scrum was really ominous. And I think given that the Tars are probably the strongest Aussie scrum, at least maybe aside from the Force, that's a big warning sign and a klaxon going off for all the other Aussie teams watching that going, wow, they actually monstered them. And I think that the manner in which the Drua were able to peg back and deny a bonus point, really big in the context of how short the season is. That could be the difference between hosting a semi-final or not in the grand scheme. And I'm assuming, and we tipped it at the start of the year, I'm assuming the Tars probably go on as minor premiers, so they've already going to host the final. But for other teams,
well, the final's already locked in, isn't it? In this competition,
yeah,
it's a bit stupid, but it's
final will
be
played
home team advantage.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Very strange.
So we could have Brumbies, Reds, hypothetically, at
I mean, hypothetically, yeah, it definitely won't be.
It won't happen, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, it's kind of stupid.
But yeah, I think that Drua scrum can be a real weapon. And the backs were great. Don't get me wrong, but it was very much like the Tars pack holding on to the lead that the backs were able to build and create for them. Desi Miller too. You've been asking for it. Kicking off the tee, she flushed it.
Desi Miller got one from the sideline that I reckon is the best kick I've seen a kicker take in the last few years of footy. From the sideline, she nails it. And we know that the women, aren't necessarily as strong in the kicking department as what the men can do. So even just to get it towards the post is impressive from that position. But it looked like it was going wide. It sort of nails in, hits the crossbar and goes over. it was very exciting to see her now. That one, I was like, that's got to be a highlight reel on her Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever she wants to use. Free beers anywhere in Leichhardt for the rest of her life.
It was an absolutely belting kick. So they get up very much off the back of that opening half hour. They go 4 tries to none and they hold on to it. So well done to the Tars. Game on Sunday though, not near.
Just one last thing. One thing I wanted to say. I really was really impressed with the combination between Piper Simons at 9 and is it Plueni Kevitt? Is that how you pronounce her name? The fly half for the Waratahs.
The Dutch fly half.
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
sharp. She was good. She was good.
The Waratahs 10 position has been held by some big names in terms of women's sport over the years. Like you've had Bella McKenzie in there. You've had others. I'm having a mind blank of who else was there, but like that
Ash Houston, the GOAT, had so many stars.
Yes, 100%, exactly. That's it. But she came in first cap for the Waratahs, and she looked really good. She was leading that team around really, really strongly, and so she's been a really good find, I think, for the Waratahs in the off season.
Yeah, great.
Let's go to Queensland.
No, I don't have much to say on this, to be honest. I just know that it's time sensitive and that the Brumbies, who we thought might be there and thereabouts with some good pickups, and the Reds, who lost a lot of players, as you mentioned in our preseason, that's the way it played out. The Reds had Laurie Kramer pull out late. The Brumbies were there with a chip on their shoulder, not having won a game since 2024. Remember, they went winless last season, and they go and do it off the boot of Faitala Maleka, a last-gasp thriller, 15-12. Tala pots over the penalty to win it. That was a great win for the Brumbies, a really important win for their campaign and also their club in Super W.
Yeah, and I think that's what is good to see them actually get a win, obviously, first of all. But, you know, the Reds were the next team in Australian rugby last year who made the final of Super W and sort of pushed the Waratahs close-ish in that final at Ballymore. So it was good. Or was it North Sydney last year? Anyway, regardless of where it was, the final. So it was good to see that the Brumbies get a win, and hopefully they can build on that throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, awesome signs. Like we're seeing Ivania Wong, the Reds' all-time leading caps player, score against them
Scored
at
the opening try.
That was awesome. Like that was really cool. So it's good to see like these little rivalries, players bouncing between clubs. The Brumbies very much playing Brumby ball. Rolling Maul works wonders. Tanya Naden's always pretty safe money from there. It felt like just the Reds didn't have someone who could break the game open for them.
Yeah.
And that's how I think probably how they sort of sparked through last year. Like it was big impacts from Tegan Levi, from Bella Nasser, from Eva Kapani, from someone stepping up and taking the reins. No one really stood up and took the reins. Like Akira Kelly's new in that fly half role, had some so-so moments. But even so, like losing Caitlin Irwin, like to NRLW, who was like there and thereabouts as one of their speedsters, like they played like a team that didn't have their stars and didn't know what to do without them. So a lot of soul searching, I think, is going to go on at the Reds this week, because if they drop that first one against the Brumbies, against a team that hasn't won for over a year, they put themselves in a tough position to scramble towards semis now.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? Like 2 points I like to just raise on that point that you made there is like, first of all, this is probably the game that they highlight as the one that they can target to try and win. And they went so close. Like, to their credit, it was only a kick on after full time for the Brumbies to get that win. But realistically, you put them up against the likes of the Waratahs, you could expect 50, 60 point loss there. This Drua team will build through the season. They'll get better, so they're not going to be easy beats at all. That game, I think, could also be in Fiji, which is not going to be easy for this Reds team either. And then the Force, like we haven't seen them yet, but they've also got a lot of Wallaroos and a lot of experienced players as well. So it's probably the opportunity went missing for them, unfortunately. And then my second point is just the harsh reality of this competition is you can't build through a season. There's 4 games. Like this is not the time to be actually building and getting better through a season. There's no time. And so unfortunately, I don't see this Reds team getting better. They just don't have the time. Like the Super Rugby Pacific men get like 2 trial games a year, plus internal trials and all. Like they're playing some of the, like the Reds when they play, you know, they go overseas and play Benetton and all that type of stuff. Like they can have 5 or 6 trial games before the season kicks off. That's this Reds team's season run and done. Like it's so tough. Not having a full home and away season and ability to get better to trial combinations and to try and test things out. Like Rugby Australia again letting the women's teams down.
Yeah, look, I'm such a fan of doubling the season length, and people are going to point to cost and this, that, and the other. I think it needs to happen to legitimise the competition.
Let's just create a GoFundMe.
Done. Go fund them. Get around them. We might actually. See how we go. No sense in building all these followers and getting all this engagement if people aren't going to put it back into the game, right?
That's right.
That's the whole
we
go.
can call it the Scrumbag Shield.
Scrumbag Super W. There you go. Naming rights, please and thank you. We'll also take a merch deal. Tell you what, I would love a merch deal.
Sorry, but there actually are no merch. That's my next point.
That's a very good point. Where do you get a Super W jersey?
Because I would say, like, Waratah's home jersey this year, fine. Like, Waratah's will take it. But the Reds one, the women's one, I don't know what it is about it. It just looks so much better. I would buy that one.
There you go. Let's get a size.
RA.
Yeah, what happened to Wallaby Shop? That's its own breakdown. That would take us like 4 hours to do. Okay, we need some good news. Mitch, we need some good news. There is good news out there. It's in the form of the Aussie Sevens. Is
it AFL? Is that what we're talking about?
We are world champions, baby. I want to have you sully the name of the Sevens when they have done the unthinkable and beaten New Zealand in back-to-back tournaments. They did it in the two that mattered most. Last week in Valladolid, this week in Bordeaux. They go to France. They roll out Maddie Levi. They unfreeze her from Carbonite, and she gets 2 tries in the decider to take her season tally to 64, which is sickening, and they hold on for a 26-19 win over the Black Ferns in the final. It was winner takes all, and I promise you, Mitch, these are the only 2 deciders I haven't watched. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I thought we need to change it. I can't watch it. I'm a curse. It turns out I'm right. They did the unthinkable. It's been awesome to see.
Maybe we can't sponsor the women's rugby then. I think it's us. We don't tune in and they do well. Maybe we should just keep away from the Wallabies this year and they'll win everything.
Oh my God, I'd do that. We cancel the pods of the Wallabies when I'll do it.
But yeah, how good. Like we've been critical of this Sevens team throughout the year that like it was getting, there was a script that was forming that they played well through pool stages and through the final series only to lose to New Zealand in the final. And 6 stops on the World Series that happened, and it was the 2 that mattered. That the Aussie women's get the chockies, get the one up, and go world champions. So to top off the fact, like I don't think we even spoke about it last week, but that the men's also won in Spain. Where was it? Madrid.
It was in Valladolid. It's a weird one. Like the B is a V. It was horrible to pronounce.
Yeah, wherever that is. It was Spain though, right? But again, first time since 2018 that both the men and women's team get to share the podium. That was awesome to see, first of all, and then to go one better and to win the whole World Series by getting the win at the final is awesome. I mean, I'll take it as an Aussie. We need wins. We need to get more trophies and all that type of stuff. But it does feel a little bit unfair, doesn't it? Like this whole idea of just win the final and you win the World Series. It's like the Black Ferns have really actually been the team this year.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit. Like, I'm so happy that we won. And it's obviously great because they've won, I think, including the final series, there are now, 9 legs? I think they play 6 regular series to determine a series winner and then the 3. So there are 9. We only won 3. So the Black Ferns won 6 tournaments. We won 3, but apparently we're world champions. Right now, I'll take it. Absolutely, we'll take it, but it does point to like the Sevens format being weird as hell. And I do think it should probably go back to just being 7 legs, as is Sevens, and you total it up for tournament wins points overall. It means that every game matters a little bit more.
I get why they're doing it because they're trying to sort of mire it up to the Olympics.
Yeah, Olympic style.
So it's a similar type style and that sort of thing. But I don't think it's enough of an incentive for one competition that runs once every 4 years to throw out the whole world cycle and just make it
get over yourself.
Confusing. Like it's cool that the Sevens in the Olympics can be its own thing and that you see Fiji win it or France in the men's win at the last one because they were hosting it. That's awesome to see. We don't need to replicate that in the World Series. It can be its own thing. But we've got that, what is it, Ultimate Sevens or something kicking off soon with more players kicking on and signing with that. So Maurice Longbottom has also signed across now. So Henry Hutchinson, Matty T. Levi, they're the Aussie ones I've seen so far. But like that's going to be kicking off in a few weeks as well. So keep your eyes peeled there because that, if you believe the hype, is meant to revolutionise sevens and hopefully bring a bit of investment. Actually, the other talking point that we got tagged in on Twitter that's a little bit sevens focused, but the former great Wallaby, Marika Korobetti, is apparently signed to go over and play in the Indian Premiership Sevens series.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that started up last year. Like Henry Hutchison and Tim Welsh was coaching. Moz Longbottom went over as well. Yeah, funny one. The idea of watching Freaky Mariki go over and beat up a bunch of subbies blokes is horrifying. But also, like, I'll get around it. I'll watch it. When I first saw the Marika news, for some reason my brain said Marika signed with the Force. And I think it's purely because he was wearing his blue white nut jersey. So I lost my shit. I was so excited about the idea of him coming back to Aussie rugby.
That's around the corner, though. I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Don't tempt me with Marika coming back. The last thing the Force need are more outside backs.
He might end up playing fourth grade at Gordon, but...
Oh, yeah, he'll go play for Perth Bayswater and just kill local blokes. It'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
But, no, yeah, so seeing the Indian Premier League pickup is interesting. I'm not sure how well it did. Like, it certainly didn't make a splash outside of this is a thing. And I went, oh, okay. And then I never heard anything about it.
I never heard results. I never saw any highlights or anything. Yeah.
Unless you're watching Henry Hutchison's, like, Get Ready With Me blog in the morning, which isn't really my cup of tea. Sorry, Hutch. But, like, it just didn't make a splash for me.
You're not really the target market, though, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I'm on gain lines, though. That's for Luciano.
Let's get some shirts on, hey, Hutcho.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Is there any other orders of business to pick up or poke around for Super Rugby? I don't think we're going to be doing much semi-finals coverage, to be honest. Not particularly interested. I'll be rooting for a Hurricanes-Chiefs final, surely.
We're all on the Kane train at the moment, and so I'm sorry, Canes fans, but we probably just derailed that, so you'll probably lose this weekend to the Blues.
Our fault,
and the final we played in Christchurch.
If after losing their past 5 games, including a final, the Blues beat the Hurricanes in Wellington? And the Crusaders,
that'd be good for us.
Obviously,
that'd be good for the Reds though. With old mate
Vern
coming over.
Oh, Stern. If Stern Vern wins it, amazing.
Imagine if he won the comp.
We need. Oh my god! Again, he's already won one. He's a freak. I think the comp needs a Canes Chiefs final.
Doesn't count. If you win one, like in Super Rugby, if you haven't won 7, what are you even talking about? On the trot. That's actually a signing. That's one little bit of news we didn't announce. That
Scott Hansen.
Scott Hansen, yeah. It has been announced as the next coach of the Crusaders, and Rob Penny was not happy with that news being leaked.
Yeah, it was bullshit. Penny's coming off a championship. Surely he gets to dictate how and when he gets to make his exit. Like, the heat on him in 2024 was crazy when he came in and didn't make the finals, and they were all like turf him, and he was dropping C-bombs in press conferences to journalists being snarky to him. Like, I loved him. I thought he was great. And then he wins it next year.
Where was that in the Waratahs? That's what we needed in the Waratahs that year. Just need to see this old school Rennie. Old school Penny.
We need old school Penny. But yeah, we'll see. Strange one, isn't it? So Hansen signed through. How long was his deal? I can't remember off the top of my head.
28, 29, I think. Yep.
Okay, so let's say a couple of years. Does make things very interesting for where Penny wants to go afterwards, if he does. And on Kiwi coaches, this made sense in my head to streamline here. But
that's fine.
Japan League 1 wrapped up, and this will be our last order of business. But Dave Rennie took out the Japanese League 1 title with Kobe Steelers. So he's the big dog, big Ren Dog millionaire, coming back from 2 Chiefs titles, a very ugly stint with Rugby Australia, who's going into the All Blacks gig. He's going in a winner.
That's what I was hinting at before, that we've got a quarterfinalist berth coach coming in, taking the reins midway through an international season, and they're coming in hot favourites of a championship. I mean, like it's not Super Rugby, it's not URC,
it's a good comp though.
It's good for them to win that.
Does he bring back
like
Brodie
to have
Retallick?
A coach who can win? Who can coach a win? It's a bit past it in Australian rugby at the moment, and it probably puts into perspective a little bit. And I think we'll see that over the next few years, how hard it is to coach Australia. Because Rennie left the Wallabies job, and I know everyone knows the story. There's a lot of different opinions and things about should he have stuck stuck around? Should he have not? Was he stabbed in the back? All that type of stuff. But his win rate spoke for itself. And yeah, he could go on to become one of the most successful Crusaders coaches ever, as much as that pains me to say.
Well, he could be like Graham Henry and Steve Hansen. He could be the delivering them to the promised land after their abject failures. And New Zealand rugby, of course, is in crisis constantly if they're not holding on to the World Cup or averaging above 90% win record. But yeah, Rennie coming in with surely Artie Savia is his captain. They have the Kobach connection. He brings back Brodie Vitalik. Anton Leonard-Brown's sperm is frozen and they create a new generation of super midfielders. Like, we just don't know what's going to happen over the next little while. So I am horrified in equal measure, and we will not be reporting on rugby for the next month.
And then just, I don't know if you saw this, but the Springboks have also named their squad for the Nations Championship overnight. I think Rugby Australia might need to follow a similar course. Like, we tend to name like 30, maybe 32 at most. Rassie's just gone full Rassie and named 60 blokes. Like,
Yeah,
let's just bring everyone from all 4 Australian teams together and give them a run.
Yeah, why not? Everyone meet down at Coogee Stairs. We're doing Coogee Stairs, and the first 10 people to drop out don't make the squad.
Or just drink 4X at Ballymore, and the first bloke to pass out, he's out.
Oh my God,
captain.
I'd love that.
Or
I'd
captain.
love that so much. We've got all these selection ideas. That's brilliant. And I've officially lost it now.
I think we need to just wrap it up. We've hit the hour mark. People aren't talking. We're talking absolute dribble. But thanks everyone for getting to this point of the podcast. I don't know what the plan is next week. We might be back with our Super Rugby Pacific wrap. We might give it a week or two. Just see. Just if you hear from us, hear from us. If you don't,
if there is a Wallaby squad, expect something from us. If there is not, or if it's delayed and dragged out, we might treat ourselves to a week off. Who knows? We've suffered enough this season. We deserve a bit of time away. We'll let you know regardless. Keep an eye on Patreon as well. We will update accordingly in there for our subscribers too. Thank you for those who've stuck with us as well through the season. That's been a really cool little experiment to trial and doing midweek extra eps as well. Super W, make sure you go down and watch in person if it's around you. I think Drua are hosting the Force, and we've got another game, I want to say in Canberra, but I am wrong often. So while I quickly pad and find out where that's being played, I think that the best course of action... Oh, my God, I'm right. Yes, they are hosting the Tars this weekend, Tuggeranong Vikings. So if you're in Canberra, get down and support some Super Dub.
thanks, everyone. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
We're not going to France for the croissants.